Welcome to another episode of Focus States. Today I'm here with my colleagues Oscar, visual designer, and Modestas, product designer. And today we're going to discuss the synergies between the two of them. And this format will be kind of interview format where I'm hosting and asking them the questions, and they will reply.
That's sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's give it a try then.
Yeah. So let's get going. So just opening and the context between behind everything. How did you two start working together?
Yeah, I think the first project, if I remember correctly, was Aris Robotics.
Yes.
That's kind of the start of the journey. Yeah, it was 2 years ago or so now.
Yeah, precisely 2 years.
Yeah. So it was the project. You kind of had to do a brand facelift or refresh initially. Then I kind of stepped in later on with the website design.
It was actually around the time we both started.
Yeah, that's true, and that's quite important to mention.
Very first project at EDO when we started working. And yeah, like you said, I did the rebrand, and then you designed the web application, and that was a first great opportunity for us to try out and see how we pair up. And I think it went quite well, to be honest. I really enjoyed that. Look back on it, and it was a great experience. Also for us to get to know each other and get to know how we work and stuff. I think it was good opportunity, especially in the beginning where we didn't know each other, and it was
also, like, I don't know about you, but it was my first time working alongside a brand designer, so that was a whole new world for me.
Me too.
That was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So that's how we started.
Yeah. So you kind of came from two different backgrounds, and how was like the first impression of like one another's way of working?
I was very intimidated. I was because I had an impression of him that he was more a seasoned designer, let's call it, than I was. Especially because at the time I was still in my master's, the final year of my master's degree. So to me, he seemed like as my superior.
I forgot the part that you were actually
part-time.
Your master. You started part-time. Damn. Okay, time is flying. Yeah. Well, I had no idea that you felt in that way. Honestly, like for me, it was the first time where I felt like, okay, there's somebody that has a keen eye on visuals and is able to set the tone aesthetically, provide me with all the necessary assets, or at least direction. So it was very exciting and cool, and it was the fresh start for me, and I knew that there is gonna be much more to come. So yeah, only good impressions in general. Like, very keen eye for visuals, very great at. I mean, I was using. I come from a product design background, so for me, like, I'm used to using UI fonts for everything, Inter for everything, and this guy came in and was able to, like, for Aris, I think already you picked a really cool GT font for headlines. So it was really good to have somebody that is much better at areas outside of my expertise, because and we can combine it and make something great. That was
I was very proud of this project. Yeah. Also, I also felt like I need to pull my weight up, and so it was nice to feel not the pressure, but feel like someone's challenging you, and then being able to bounce those ideas between each other. And
you brought up big guns. I remember that. What was it? What was the the tool that
the
you used,
processing.
the
Yeah.
processing script. Oh, that was such a cool asset generator. You wanna fill us in on that?
Yeah. So the whole, well, the bit of background, what Iris Robotics does is AI trained model to sort waste. And in their product, they had this scanner that is able to identify different kinds of waste, and they had this learning model where it would outline the structure of the trash and categorize it. So I wanted to use that as an element of the branding, and picked out a few screenshots from the platform and translated it into a generative tool that would be able to generate assets for them to use in the pitch decks and social media posts and marketing. And also we use that heavily on their website, where we played around this kind of conveyor belt scanning and loads of movement. And yeah, it was pretty cool. It became like a central thing of their brand identity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. It really did, and it was like for me the first glimpse into this workflow of generating visuals.
Yeah.
Like that, and every visual is somewhat unique.
Yeah.
Obviously, obviously the elements are kind of predefined. You had like a few variants of each trash or trash item. But then each layout would be unique. So that was really cool.
Yeah. It was a cool project.
Okay. So good first impressions.
Yeah.
Amazing first impression.
That's great to hear. So I guess that you kind of like grown into roles that you're in today, but how would you describe your roles and how do they differ, overlap in practice?
Well, like we just said, we both come from different backgrounds. Modesta's product design, and I, being a visual designer, always studied art and design. So stepping into this role, which originally was a product designer role, initially I thought that that's what I would be solely focusing on. But that's not the case, as we were getting more and more projects that were related to product design. I had to step into this unknown area, and I had obviously Modestas guiding me throughout the process. So yeah, I had to adapt and kind of expand my skill set in order to be able to support Modestas in his role as well.
Also Frederick, I think it wasn't only me.
Yeah, Frederick too.
It was a kind of team effort to get you on board in terms of product design. I think the first one that you did was Lisi.
Web design for Lisi.
That was
mainly with Frederick, but I think.
Yeah. And how would you, Modestas, like describe your role?
Well, I don't think that my role has changed a lot since I started. There's some, I've always been working on web apps and mobile apps from time to time. A lot of portion of my time also website. So just over time, I grew maybe into a designer that is a bit more keen into visuals and maybe motion too. So trying to, there are instances that maybe there is something missing on the visual front when we're working on the website, right? Like when you design a visual identity, you look at it in a very holistic way. You kind of look at all the possible touch points, brand touch points. Whereas in my case, it's website, right? So then when you're looking at that from that holistic perspective, it's almost impossible to fill in the gaps, right? When you're working on a website, you start noticing maybe the branding doesn't cover illustration style for empty states, or maybe I don't know, like maybe there is something missing on some graphical asset. So I kind of got into a little bit to visual design too. I've never touched logo design, but I've always experimented with illustration design, a bit of motion there and there. But yeah, primarily been doing that, like websites, web apps, mobile apps, and then
Yeah, I think you do a great job in, like you said, I kind of laid the foundations with the brand manual, and then you take that and then expand upon it. I think a great example is like the custom web redesign that you did, where we had the the very bare bones structure of a brand guideline, and then you took it and then expanded to a point where I was very proud of how you took that kind of very simple thing and then made it so polished and kind of evolved the identity to almost to the point where I didn't even recognize, because obviously have different sense of aesthetics and stuff. And
yeah, that's usually what happens when you work in a team. I think just to summarize, Oscar is very good at setting the tone for the aesthetics, how the visual direction should look like, and then me maybe taking that as a reference and maybe, if needed, expanding upon it on the if needed. But yeah.
So you talked a bit about your work with Aris, which was your first project together. But what's a typical project for you as a duo today? How can that look?
Wow.
Typical project? Depends.
I think it's like typical. I'd say the brand sprint.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
because it's usually Oscar starting with the brand facelift or brand refresh, and then me maybe stepping in and designing a website afterwards. So that's the usual flow of work that we do for the design sprint. But of course, we had plenty of other projects.
Yeah, like we mentioned Accent. Yeah, where there was a case where you were actually on holiday, and we were just landed a project with Accent Robotics, and then I had to step into the UI design and build up on that in order for us to land the project. And then you came back and took that and improved it and expand upon the initial work.
I didn't have to improve it a lot, because I remember I was blown away by by the visuals in general. Like I was looking quite strong. But yeah, I think Probinder was
yeah, that was the second, probably the biggest still ongoing project, where together we started from not having any brand to building up a brand, building up a website, building up a platform, mobile design, mobile apps, and
that was
just a giant project that we.
And it's still ongoing. I mean, I'm not involved anymore, but it's but that was a cool project, because we had to design everything from scratch. There was nothing, like literally nothing. They didn't even have the name for it. So
nothing. It's good.
So that was a cool part about it.
Okay. So it sounds like you're really collaborative when you're working together.
Yeah, for sure.
But do you ever or how do you split the responsibilities? And is it always a clear cut?
Not necessarily, not always a clear cut, but like we said, usually I will try to stick to the visual part. Melissa sticks to product design, but obviously where it makes sense, I like to fill in, take some of the workload off Modestus' shoulder, and he does the same for me. And I think it's a nice, kind of back and forth where we do step on each other's toes, let's call it. But it's a good practice for us, because I think we both develop and challenge ourselves in the process.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me what we've done with Aris again when I had to conceptualize the web app for them. And you remember when I had to, I was missing colors for the data segments, and we were kind of like doing back and forth together to come up with a nice color scheme for the data visualization. Yeah, at least that's what reminded me of what you just said. But yeah, we obviously we try to be structured. So, and for the sake of efficiency, we kind of start with clear cut, let's say, but then that kind of the lines get blurrier along the way, I'd say, and it has to. It has to.
I think we tried both approaches, and yeah, the clear cut approach in the beginning makes more sense. Like I was like for time efficiency, because if we start to explore, in isolation, it doesn't really align. But if one of us starts it off in one direction, then you kind of can easily funnel down to to the final result.
Yeah, and because we work in an agency environment, time matters a lot. So it's again for the sake of efficiency, we kind of try to clearly divide responsibilities initially, but we're also trying to, because like we would define the responsibilities, kind of split the responsibilities, and then over the time I've noticed that those lines are blurred, and because we don't really plan it in advance, I think a couple of months ago we've been having this discussion that maybe we should plan the overlap, especially in brand sprint, where it makes sense. So you're aware that there's gonna be an overlap. Me and Oscar having a session, right? Or me jumping in and starting conceptualizing the website, maybe 3 days after Oscar starts. Like 3 days after you've been doing some work, so it's not like you are done and then I jump in, and it doesn't really work like that. We need that back and forth to get to align on the brand vision. I think.
Okay, so you're kind of like blurring the lines a bit along the way sometimes. But is it ever like that one of you maybe feel like the other person is stepping into the other person's territory? And how do you handle that?
I can say that I'm definitely stepping into Modesta's territory more and more with time, and it's partly because that's the career path that I'm on. But no, I don't feel any type of way when you start doing visuals or illustrations, because, like I said, it's a good experience to have you doing some of my work and then me doing your work. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think again, I mean, it's you can't really avoid that.
No,
and again, just understanding when it's the right moment, maybe to step in, or where you should just kind of let go and finding a good balance in between. For me, I think just the only reason I would step into your territory is if we notice down the line that there is maybe a missing color, right? Maybe we need additional accent color, or whenever there's, practically speaking, something missing, then I would be. But even then, we try to have a discussion, right? And I hope that I don't just swoop in and make changes on the brand front and then be like, okay, this is we usually.
Yeah, I think we're aligned on that.
Try to sort it out as a.
Also, because we're such a small team, so the fact that we have to be nimble, and I have to fill in the gaps and be very agile and getting things done, executing on that. And there's no hard feelings when the lines are blurred or we're stepping.
I mean, he's working a meter away from me, so I might as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Cool. So what's an example of a moment where the collaboration really clicked?
Yeah.
Or maybe we can start when it didn't.
Where it didn't click?
While we're on it.
I don't think we've had the moment where it didn't click. I think it's a process of getting better at making it click. I think where it really clicked was one of our projects that we've had a few under our belt, and PropBinder tenant app. It was we set some ground foundation in terms of how long we have to execute on the project, and defined who does what, and together we were able to execute it on it very fast. And
oh yeah, I remember
that.
I remember we didn't have a lot of time for that
but
project.
we made it work, and we made it made a sick app in a matter of a week, I'd say.
Oh yeah, that was quick.
Yeah.
That was quick. I don't remember a lot from that project, to be honest. Probably because of how quick it was. Yeah. Tool trackers is another.
Yeah, that was afterwards, and it was also that was even quicker because it was like 60 or something hours in between us. It was quick, and then I designed a website, stepping into your territory.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
I think. Well, you're looking for example where it didn't click. I think initially like PropBinder, not because of my or Oscar's fault. It's more so the process, the way we outlined the process kind of messed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, that's why at that time we had a very clear cut. Okay, Oscar does this, finishes with the brand tiles or style tiles. It's basically how would you describe style tiles?
Style tiles was just a brand identity in one packed into one slide with colors.
It's a brand preview essentially. And you went you went on vacation, and then I kind of swooped in with started conceptualizing website, and I feel like there was a bit of visual misalignment there. Once you came back, it was like we had to rework some of the things, just because again it was so clear cut, right? So, and we didn't really. I wasn't, as far as I remember, I wasn't also as involved as I wanted to in the initial phase, and yeah, I think, and that's why I would always advocate that it's.
Yeah, we've burned a lot of hours because of this isolation.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, I remember that now.
I had a nice retrospect though, and I think since then we really improved the way we work, especially together, me and Oscar. But yeah.
Okay, nice. Because this also leads us into next part, because you both are creatives and probably has a lot of ideas and yeah. So let's talk about creative tension and conflict. So what do you most often disagree on?
I don't think there's one thing that we mostly disagree on. If there is anything that we disagree on, we try to, shuffle out and talk about it. I can't really think of an example where we disagreed on something very strongly, or
it's just. I don't think that I can't pinpoint a single aspect. So I think it's just, generally speaking, we tend to have discussions and sweat over granular details, granular stuff. But I think we're pretty good at working those out during maybe design
reviews. Yeah.
Okay. Have an open space. We introduce potential ideas, and then we get feedback on and that kind of helps us,
We're also problem solvers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even when we're just, like I said, we're a meter apart. So we just ask, what do you think about that? Yeah. How would you change it? How would you improve it? Or, yeah. So it's just about being open and not being married to one idea and being able to take constructive feedback.
Yeah.
With a grain of salt.
Yeah. Oh my God. This aspect of our work was a really tough one in the beginning, at least. Just being professional, understanding that it's just feedback.
Yeah.
Not a personal attack.
No. Yeah. At the end of the day, we want to create great work, not only for ourselves, but to our clients.
Of course.
And that's what matters the most.
Yeah. So pushing the ego aside sometimes. It was a tough one for me in the beginning because I would take it as, and it's normal because you spend a lot of hours into, finessing something and then you kind of feel it that you kind of there, you got it right. And then people butcher it, Yeah. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Something that you learn. And also the design reviews help with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So let's move over to processes and tools. How do you structure your collaboration?
Oh my God. Where should we start?
Well, I think usually it would be Frederick that structures it for us.
Well, yeah, I guess we start with some sort of task management system.
Yeah. Click up.
We're gonna define the tasks, and this is where this clear-cut responsibility split happens. And then obviously Figma. Figma. We over time, obviously, we built some sort of shared libraries. I don't know. It's very broad because it really depends on I guess on a project. But
yeah.
But maybe if we're looking at, let's say, the timeline on a brand sprint.
Yeah.
How does that look?
To us, kind of the blueprint is predefined. I start with the brown foundations. When I'm closer to finish, Modestas will jump in and start translating it, see how that responds to web environment, and then if there's anything that needs to be addressed, I'll recalibrate in order for it to work on this system, and then Modestas takes over. So from tools is have task management and Figma for concepts and typing, and then Framer, Webflow.
What he said. I think also in terms of like besides tools, because tools, who cares about tools? I think, well, we always have some sort of in kickoff meeting.
Yeah.
Right. We sit down, we discuss the project requirement. This is where also we kind of cover the roles and responsibilities. And then we would probably implement some sort of recurring sync meetings.
Yeah.
So like daily stand-ups, just to understand, especially the projects that
longer ones,
multiple people and the projects that are quite time sensitive. Just a daily stand-up, just saying what you're working on, what are the blockers. It's just, I think it's a great way of coordinating.
Having the open feedback loop, and we can always be able. The fact that we're so close to each other just makes it so easy and natural.
Pretty much. So besides obviously scheduled meetings, we do a low-key talks, discussions,
or check-ins.
And you also talked a bit about the design reviews is often a part of the process as well.
Yeah.
So how often do you have that, and how do those typically go?
Well, we have the blockers for design reviews 2 in a week, Monday and Wednesday. But yeah, usually it's just wherever it makes sense and how often it makes sense to seek feedback. Depends on the project, but they are very helpful. And sometimes it's just a matter of a simple question where maybe the problem is a little bigger, and it would require more heads than just me or Modestas. That's when we would get everyone involved and trying to solve it collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's often like one person like presenting what they designed, seeking for feedback.
Usually, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually.
Okay. Funnier question. Any rituals or inside jokes that keep things fun?
Sheesh. Do you have anything on that?
I guess, I don't know, if a ritual would be a small talk during going to the coffee machine, and we talk about what we're working currently on and how's it going, etc. That's, I guess that's the ritual, because it happens every day.
Yeah, true.
But nothing in particular, nothing sacred. No. Just being able to talk about it, we oftentimes talk about it, I don't know, in Friday bar, and it's just like continuously reflecting on the project. I think it's good. Often we have a retrospective at the end, so that's always good to talk about it. What went well, what didn't go well, what can we improve in the next projects to come. Often with the beer and keeping it light, keeping it casual. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
That's important too, to celebrate the projects and everything. Okay, so let's move over to design philosophy and growth. What have you learned from each other?
I think I've learned loads from Modestus personally. Loads on design systems and how design systems can be utilized, and especially now I started to adopt design systems into brand thinking. How can I design a brand that uses a systematic approach? So that I think that's a great deal of knowledge he shared with me, and when I try to use it and be cautious and be aware of it, and when I'm planning a brand, see how it adapts to different environments, not only to classic print, but also how that will translate to web app, web design, mobile app.
Yeah, and he learned boring stuff from me. I learned a lot of fun things from Oscar. One of which I think, well, before I started working at EDO, most of my screen design was monochrome. So me and the colors, I wasn't really much into it, and even now I'm still lacking, I'd say, in that area. But I did learn a few tricks from you in terms of picking colors that complement each other, that goes along, that works well together. Typefaces. I actually, like, I found out a lot about cool type foundries and different display typefaces that can be used to spice up, those bold website headlines in general. And yeah, I think I also got a good insight, because I had no idea how the process of visual identity design works. So I got a great insight on that, and I think along the way we've kept kept on learning from each other and pushing each other to become better designers.
100%. Yeah.
So, and even now, there are things that we teach, we actively teach each other. There's some tricks maybe on Figma that I'm not aware of, but Oscar is on top, and he's he can teach me a few one thing or two, frame or two. It's just mastering a tool is not easy. So just learning each other bit by bit. It's a long journey. I'm sure that we'll keep on learning from each other. Yeah.
You talked a bit about like usage of colors and font typography, but how have your definitions of good design evolved from working together?
I think personally, good design is systematic, can be scalable, respects limitations. That's what I've learned, and it's it can also drive like key metrics for our clients. Depending whatever they need, like conversion rates and etc. So that's the stuff I wasn't really aware of prior to me working with Modestas. I was just solely focused on visuals and aesthetics. I didn't really care for anything in between that has an effect on a business.
Yeah, and in general, like, I mean, it's tough to grasp the context of this responsive design, of fluid design, right? Because you've been like, you were at that time already, you were used to working with static visuals, whether it's a poster or hanging on the wall, or it's a book cover, whatever it is, right? It doesn't change in terms of size, or the width is not shrinking and expanding, but the browser can be a bitch. So there are things that obviously you need to consider when you design a layout for a website or any other product that runs on a browser. So and in general, like, I think we work with functional design very much so everything has to have a purpose. So just what I learned is that the screens, like UI can look fun too, can add a bit of flavor, in there. I remember I it used to piss me off so much, but we used to have design reviews, and whenever I would hear a word clinical, because that's how my work is usually being described, I like minimal, clean, everything is white. But of course, like, there are cases where it's okay to inject a little bit of brand into digital product as well, and stuff doesn't have to be so boring, clinical. I like boring. I love boring, but I'm not. I don't. At the end of the day, I'm not designing for myself.
No.
Right? So just understanding when it's when there's a good moment to inject a bit of fun and brand.
Yeah, I feel like you almost answered these questions, but do you have anything else to add on how your roles push each other towards better outcomes?
I mean, other than what we've already said, it's such a big question. I think.
Can you
read it again? Yeah.
Can you read it again for me? Sorry.
How does your roles push each other towards better outcomes?
Well, obviously, because now Oscar is kind of merging into web and product design, but the fact that we come from the different disciplines, I think the multidisciplinary collaboration is something that, you know, at least open my eyes in terms of, you know, what is possible, that it's okay to use, you know, a secondary brand color maybe for your accents, and everything shouldn't necessarily be just monochrome. But again, I think we're kind of repeating ourselves.
Yeah.
In general, like, because we come from different disciplines, we're kind of able to show a different world to each other. Right?
Yeah. I also, to speak to that, I think my perception of aesthetics has shifted, where now I can appreciate the greatly designed UI a bit more than maybe I was prior to our work together. Now I you know, pick up on those micro interactions and really consider the craft, and it really it's close with me these days.
On a daily basis, right? When you're using an app on
exactly
your iPhone, right? Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same for you when you see a beautiful empty state or something. Where do you see that brand reflected?
I mean,
in the product?
If I see a beautiful poster on the street, I will stop and I'll pay attention to it. So yeah, I guess, and I always appreciate good design, whether it's just a poster or I'm very visuals are very important to me. I know that I can come across or sound like a very systematic designer, but I love visuals.
Yeah,
I love visuals and motions, and so I guess we were able to, you know, take a small piece of you know, two different disciplines and carry those along somehow.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so we talked about the synergies between the two of you and the way that you collaborate and make everything work, what you're learning from each other. So if we reflect on this, and if you have an advice that you would give to another product and visual designer trying to collaborate better, what would that be?
Put your ego aside and be open to hear out the other person, and
that was strong, man. I don't know if I can add anything. Yeah. I actually had no idea how to answer this question, but he just. I think it's a great advice.
Be open to a challenge
in general. It's gonna be tough in the beginning, especially if you have difficulties taking feedback, and then. But it's a journey. Just be mindful of the fact that, you know, you're working in a team now, and all sides have to be heard. Pushing the ego aside, hearing each other out.
Yeah, remembering that you're on the same team, trying to get to the same goal.
Yeah.
It's not a competition.
No. Then again, you know, like, we have the luxury of working in the same room. Not everybody has this luxury. So just trying to, if you don't have this luxury, then it's obviously scheduling syncs and quick sessions where you discuss your decision making, right? Especially if you're web designer and missing something from the brand, and maybe instead of just filling the gap yourself, you could step back and try to talk to the brand designers. Maybe they'll help you out there. I think
Okay, so if you had to switch roles for a day, what would that look like?
Oh my God, that would be I mean, if he had to switch roles, nothing would go wrong. But if I had to switch roles, it would be a nightmare. I mean, yeah, it would be a somewhat a mess because I've never done logo design. I haven't crafted a single logo. Maybe a few.
You would do just as well as I would do in your shoes. I'm sure.
It would require time. It would require time. If we had to do it tomorrow, I think it'd be pretty messy.
What takes you 1 hour would take me a day.
So, I think, yeah. If again, I'm sticking to my answer. Yeah, I think I think it'd be a mess if I had to step into brand designer shoes. I would fuck shit up in there.
Interesting.
You'd always have me on your side. So
Yeah. If that's the case, maybe it would be okay.
We'll be fine.
It'd be a more chaotic for sure, but could be a fun experiment. Yeah.
We should try that.
We record everything. Okay, so let's finish this off strong. Some last compliments to each other. What's one thing that you admire about how the other one works?
My Modestus' attention to detail, and admire his passion to the craft.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Not very good at taking compliments. I think the sheer amount of, I think the dedication to the craft that you had, the sheer amount of work that you put in, and obviously this wasn't easy. You had to transition into new discipline, and it's a tough thing to do. You did really well in a relatively short time. I've always been impressed by that.
Thank you.
Putting aside, how good you are as a brand designer. So I think I've already said that. So I'm not gonna repeat myself. But you jumping, switching disciplines like that, and I think it's very impressive.
Beautiful. Okay, nice.
Okay.
Do you have anything to add on this topic, or do you feel like we've covered everything?
That was good.
Yeah,
It was good.
Good talk.
I think we covered it pretty well. This was such a great deep dive into our internal collaboration. It was really interesting hearing Oscar's perspective on how we handle internal work and how we balance stepping into each other's territory while still making sure the work keeps moving. I realized that creative tension, if handled well, can actually lead to better results. And product and brand design should be less siloed and more shared, ongoing conversation. We are releasing episodes every other week. So if you enjoyed this one, make sure to follow us so you don't miss the next episode.